Microphone check 1 2. Chicken 1 2. All right, everybody. This is FUNKWERKE with GSG the RIGS, a collaborative event between hardware.io and GSG.live, where we raid back and forth from the studio in Berlin, hardware.io studio, to several streamers all over the world. And today I'm gonna kick it off, and in a bit we're gonna, at 7 p.m. European time, we're gonna raid into Sound Commander at the Hardware Studio, followed by beta units from GSG.live. He will play and do some gear insights for about an hour, and raid back into the Hardware Studio where FUNKWERKE is playing. Also interviews and gear insights, all kinds of stuff. Hey, welcome in, Pulsar Octopus. Nice to see you. Thank you for following. Didbox, welcome. So let me throw on some cameras. Welcome in. This is my studio. I'm gonna do some jamming later on, but I decided, because this is an event about playing live performances, but also about sharing insights about how you do everything. So instead of creating something before I play, I'm deciding to chat through the mic for the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and after that do a jam and share a little bit how I work. So apart from setting some sounds in most of the synthesizers and drum machines, I didn't create any patterns. I'm gonna do a left to right here. I got a Moog sub 25 here. Right here I got a looper. I have it set up to 8 bars of looping. I can see the 8 bars and the sub bars going right here, so I know where I'm at. It's very convenient. Got the drum machine, nothing in there at this time. Just a kit. Might create something with it later on. What do I have here? I've got this launch pad, and it's connected to the 1010 Music black box. I can, for instance, create some. Play some sound with it. Or use it to edit filters on any of the 16 channels. Like this is a filter on the kick, drums, drum beat, all other kinds of sounds. Of course, the big ass North stage right here. For some live playing. Mixer, 32 channel digital mixer, X32. I can of course mute channels or stereo pairs. I got the Electron Digitone here. I can control it or play it with the KeyStep Pro right here, the black one. And I'm realizing one of the sounds is a lot lower than the other one, so I'm gonna see how it was filtered out. So with this KeyStep Pro, I can record four channels into the Digitone by playing it live and recording it with I think it's called grid recording mode. KeyStep's also connected to the mono lancet. Especially nice for sub-bass sounds, but you can also crank them up, of course. So tuning it a bit. Then there's the Dreadbox Typhon. Right now I've got ARP mode set on the KeyStep Pro. So there's an arpeggiator going into the Dreadbox, and the Typhon goes into the Electron Digitone actually. So it can use the master effects of the Digitone. Comes in at the same stereo channel in my mixer. The DeepMind 12, I got the chord mode set up on the KeyStep Pro. It's just a simple minor chord, but I use the first and the fifth and the minor third on the second octave, resulting in something like this. So it plays 3 notes when I strike 1 note. Clock Bash, nice to see you, man. Been a while. Hope you're enjoying the stream so far. Hello everybody, we got 11 viewers in the channel already. Welcome to GSG, the RIGS, in collaboration with FUNKWERKE. Janice, Roberta, nice streak going on, 7 stream. Let me know if all audio is good, it's not too soft. Check 1, 2 if you can hear the mic. If there's anything with audio or video that you want to have feedback on, be sure to just share it in the chat. A little bit more attention available than normally because right now I'm still doing mic. The clock is running, but I'm still doing a little gear show. So the way my setup works is the closest devices are all devices I can do structural dynamics on, sequencing, live sequencing, generative sequencing, looping. I have 2 loopers standby. For instance, I have the Hydrosynth and the Quark Monologue here. The Quark Monologue and the Hydrosynths are standardly connected to the Boss RC505 MK2 right here. In the Hydrosynth you can make like kits of favorites, 4 of them. That way you can switch pretty quickly between some bass patches in there as well. Where's this sub bass coming from? not sure. That's the thing with a big setup like this. Sometimes there's a sound happening somewhere and you don't know exactly where it's coming from. It's, where is this coming from? Anyhow. So, I've got the hydro synth and the monologue connected to this 505 looper. This is one of the things I do, loop something with that, or can do MIDI looping with that, or with the key step, or program something in the sequencer. I can use the sequencer of the digitone. I can do generative sequencing with the torso T1. I can do time-stretched or non-time stretched looping with Electro Harmonics 95000. I can do 6 mono channels. I can do some live playing on a sub 25 or generated. Hey there, Camille Coppens, welcome. Nice to see you on YouTube. Furthermore, we got, of course, we got the 303. Let's see. This is the right cam for it. Yes. Got it connected to a key step, OG key step, and it's now on ARP mode. So. So I can like live play the 303. When I strike some notes, I can hold it. And as many of you know, the TD3 does not do any filter modulation, LFO or whatever. But I got an old Korg sample Gale's pad running, and there's some LFO effects on that. So let's put some LFO on it. And you can hold this effect. Let's do a simple high-pass filter, LFO or something. But not now. And there's, of course, the visuals. I'm using a Critter and Guitari IC for the generated video synthesis, and it responds to the audio today. It can also respond to MIDI messages, but I have it on audio. Hey there, Roby. Welcome in. Buongiorno. If you guys got any specific questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And otherwise, I'm gonna just gonna create a groove and tune the kick and everything. Maybe this is interesting to share. I'm using an X32 by the notorious Behringer company. Oh no, he's a Behringer guy. Kill him! Which essentially is like a cheaper version of the M32 by Midas. But it's very versatile. And it's 32 channels, and it remembers everything and stuff. Who inspires me? Well, musically, there are some inspirations. Folks like Richie Houghton, of course, Nathan school jazz musicians, of course. I listen to a lot of jazz and blues, and because I create everything live on the spot, I try to learn as much as I can from jazz musicians. So also modern jazz musicians like Go-Go Penguin and formations like that, but also old school stuff. John Coltrane, Herbie Hancock. But let's see if I can get this kick to work. The kick is coming from a Formona kick lancet. This device over here. Let's wait till the right cam is in place. Yes, the device over here. And I got I think 9 knobs just to edit the kick sound, and that's a godsend, you know. When you're creating techno or any kind of electronic live music, the kick and the hi-hat are probably the most important things to have well in order. So I got a knob for the decay. I got a knob for the attack. I got a knob for noise. I got it for a bend, for the pitch, for an FM frequency, and even got a knob called balls. But it's running through a TC Electronic hypergravity compressor, which I can use to compress the shit out of it if I want to. So the kick is triggered by the Torso T1. On there I got a pretty standard 4 on the floor pattern going, but with one turn of the knob I can increase or decrease the amount of pulses per 16 steps in this case. So if I make it 6 pulses per 16 steps, I get this thing, or maybe 5. So just with one turn of the knob, I'm or 8 per 16, or get 16 per 16, or I can get crazy and make like a weird 5-step pattern. But I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm gonna keep it 4 on the floor and add a hi-hat, which works about the same. Hey there, Odd B, welcome in. Yeah, it still is terrifying for me in some games, so especially when stuff is not doing what I expect them to do. That's the old trick. You add gear over time. This is the result of like 25 years doing this kind of stuff. And I recently got rid of some gear. There was like in this corner, there was a case like this with 5-6 pieces of gear synthesizers, and I was getting too confused, so I reduced it. And it's really easy to buy new gear when you think you're stuck musically or something, but usually it's even better to take a step back and read the manual of a piece of gear you know has more functions than you're using. There are so many ways of using your gear. You can learn a lot by seeing what other people are doing with it. I'm pretty sure every piece of gear I have, I'm only using for 65% or something functionally. But yeah, new gear is fun, of course. There's gas. But I think the trick is not to get too... It's there are commercials, of course. If you see a new piece of gear, oh, I want that. But it's sometimes better to just dive into a piece of gear you already have and see if you can do something else with it. Less is more, actually. Yes, it's a cliche, but it's true. Okay, now I added a hi-hat. It's a little bit, it comes from the 1010 Music red black box. And it's also just doing the offbeat. And as you hear, there were some alterations to the pattern. So it's normally just doing the offbeat, but every 8 bars, every 16 bars is doing something I created on the T1 to create a little mini breaks that I don't have to do manually then. Let's add a clap. So this is just a kick, a hi-hat and a snare triggered by the Torso T1 generative sequencer. And in the background there's some, you heard it, there's just some weird texture sounds happening. But this is enough to get some head slightly bopping, but we of course need bass. And in techno kind of stuff, you can do bass in lots of ways, of course. But especially in techno, it's best to keep it simple. So, for instance, I could do like a 16-step pattern and just record something. Right now I'm just playing it live on the key step. This time I'm hitting the record key. Normally I do it on the fly, but so you see what I'm doing. Okay, so we got a simple bass line going. Let's do a simple chord stab. So as said before, I'm using the chord mode on the Keystab Pro to trigger a 3-note chord, which is basically the 1st and the 5th of a minor chord, and the minor 3rd on the 2nd octave, resulting in something like this. It's a little bit too housey. I'm gonna do it a little bit simpler to start. Okay. Let's create some more groove. Let's do some percussion or something. I got a special track for this on the T1 right here. It's also connected to a percussion kit on the black box. And so they're generative Euclidean patterns. And let's see what happens if I add them. in a while, I'm looking at my bar counter here on the 95,000, and I'm gonna wait till the one with edit. There we go. Guys, tell me, what are we adding? Or do you want me to change the mix somehow? Maybe the clap is a little too loud. Let's do a secondary bass line. So we got a sub bass going on, but I like doing at least one extra bass layer in a different groove. Let's see what we have on the digitone. I'm just hearing this groove in my mind, and I try to play it on the keys and see if it works. I think this works, so I'm gonna put the digitone on recording mode. Gonna wait till the right moment. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little bit too loud. Let's filter it a little bit. I hear in my head, and it's on the spot. I try to create it. So in the digitone there's a 16-step pattern going, just repeating. So I put it on record mode, which is record and play, and trigger it with the key step. This blue thing right here is the Vermona cross filter. It's a very rare stereo filter, a dual stereo filter. There's a low pass and a high pass, and you can cross filter it in. Great for quick break effects and stuff like that. So that's having some kind of master effect on your final output. You can have, especially a filter or something, if you have a nice stereo filter on your main output, it can create a nice quick way to make a break. So that's one of my tricks. We haven't used sub 25 yet. We can do several things. We can loop something in the looper. Do something like that. I think there's enough bass layers going. Let's maybe do a live played something on the Hydrosynth. I looped it with the Boss 505. I muted the kick, the snare, clap, and the hi-hats by just muting the first two channels on the mixer. Something like this works great for creating some kind of break. And in a break, especially techno progressive, in the break there's some space for a solo. Usually playing a very human solo in techno music is just too human to be called techno. But in a break, we can do it. What I essentially did is I unmuted the kick and the snare and the hi-hat while muting the strings. Usually works. The first synthesizer I got, if I still use it, what's the first synthesizer I got? It's a good question. I started with mostly software. Started with Rebirth, which is a software tool from the... No, I didn't start with Rebirth. I started with Digis Studio, which was a tracker in the beginning of the 90s, and followed by Fast Tracker and Fast Tracker 2. Then I moved towards Rebirth by Propellerhead. It's the same company that later came with Reason, which I used for years and years. After that I worked with Ableton, and in between I worked with several other programs. But the first actual synth I'm not even sure. It might even be the Nord Stage, because at one point I bought this Nord Stage. But before that, my brother gave me his Nord Lead 2 rack. I think that was the first synthesizer I had, but I didn't understand it at that time. Yeah, I did a lot of stuff in Fast Tracker 2 in my teens. I have still some of that stuff laying around somewhere on an old hard drive. So I still have that Nord Rack 2, and that was one of the devices that were in the case that used to be here, and it's now at my home office studio. I'm looking into giving it a secondary function, but it was not able to do something that I wasn't able to do with other pieces of machinery I have. It was one of the pieces of gear that made the setup too big and too complicated, maybe, because there was also a secondary Keystep Pro. And sometimes you gotta take a step back if you're getting lost in your own setup. And the ultimate goal, obviously, is making a ridiculous setup like this feel like one instrument, and work towards something like muscle memory. so that you can almost play with your eyes closed because you know where stuff is. And for some things that pretty much works, like something like a big knob like here. You can do it intuitively at one point, and that's what you want. Like an instrument as simple as a guitar, at one point it becomes an extension of your body, and you can almost dream where stuff is. You can almost play it without even being there. But let's get the kick back in. I'm looking at my beat counter here. I'm gonna wait for the 1-1 to put them back in. And so let's add an arpeggiators, and I'm gonna use the Dreadbox time for that. And the way I use arpeggiators is the number of notes you trigger in this way. You can of course just trigger one note. Play the arpeggiator live. Can be interesting. And when I'm gonna put the beat back in, I'm gonna trigger like 5 notes. And when I like it, I can push the hold button. The reason I triggered 5 notes, the most extreme music I made on this rig was probably every once in a while I do hardcore, terror, Frenchcore kind of stuff, and that's generally very extreme. I'm not bound to any kind of genre. I can play jazz, blues, ambient, down-tempo, breakbeat, big beat, drum and bass, techno, minimal acid, pretty much anything on this rig, even classical if I need to. So if we're talking extremes, I think I can make this into hardcore terror stuff in a matter of seconds if you really want me to. Crank up the BPM to 150. Let's change the kick drums. Let's see what happens. let's not go there. Let's not go, because there's no way back when you're when you go to that kind of stuff. But just to illustrate. So let's go back. Hey there, bonus creature. Lusty Bard, welcome in. So I'm gonna evolve this stuff. I'm gonna turn off the mic for a little bit. But feel absolutely free to ask anything, because this is a stream that's part of the RIGS show, which is about live hardware jamming, but also about insights about how to do it, motivation, inspiration, stuff like that. Kicks are coming from 2 different places, or 3 different places at this point. I have my main kick, which is also the source of the sidechaining, which happens inside the X42 mixer. As a matter of fact, I should check if that's properly set up. Yes, it is. Our main kick is coming from a Formona kick lancet. That's basically the kick from the DRM series, but in a bigger format, completely dedicated to kicks. This is absolutely a mansplaining session. One thing I'm gonna do now is let's get rid of that arm. So I told you guys I recorded this pattern on the Digitone, and it's a 16-step pattern. But with the Funk page, I get into a page where I can easily change the pattern length to something else. So let's do a 7-step pattern instead of 16. Hey, INITIALIZER. So this is the same pattern. No worries at all, INITIALIZER, welcome in. Using different pattern lengths in different sequencers all over your rig is that it starts to evolve, especially combinations of odd pattern lengths. So there's a 7-step pattern going on in the Digitone. Like, what's this? This is a 6-step generative pattern going on with some percussion. Let's hear. And that has the result that no bar will sound the same rhythmically. And this is actually a 3-step pattern. with all kinds of interesting evolving rhythms. So what's this? This is a 5-step. 2 hits in the 5-note pattern. You can also make that 2 different. It's the same hit now. Polyrhythms, polymeters. Also thinking of using a secondary bass line or secondary kick drum, actually, just as a bass. Let's see what that does. I'm gonna mute all other stuff. This bass. This is a 5-step pattern, triggering 4 times in 5 steps. This kick drum. It's just a kick drum. Boop, 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 boop. Filter it a bit. Now combine it. Create a drum pattern on top of it with the TR8, the TR8S. Just some basic stuff. FUNKWERKE in collaboration with GSG.live, the RIGS. The RIGS is a relatively new concept. We're still evolving, and it's about live hardware performance, of course, and also supplying insights in motivation, inspiration, technique. Yeah, it's pretty new still. It's not even officially introduced, but we're kind of shaping the project, and the collaboration with FUNKWERKE appeared, and it seemed like the perfect combination because they're doing the same thing, but in a studio setting where artists come to their studio, do a live performance, tell about their rig, tell about them being an artist, what inspires them. So in about 35 minutes, probably, we are gonna raid to Berlin, to the FUNKWERKE studios, and we have 3 amazing artists right there. While there are changing artists and changing the rigs and the setup and everything, we raid back into one of the GSG streamers, and after the first hardware set, it will be beta units. Also doing a gear rundown, so stay tuned for that. So we got beta units, 3 different artists, we got a Ditbox later on, and closing set is by the one and only Bleep Sample. Cheers, Beta. We haven't used 303 yet, have we? Oh well, we did it for a short while. But let's do the technique I usually use, and that's using the arpeggiator mode on the Arturia Keystep Pro. And in this case, I want maybe a 6-step pattern, and I'm in the key of B minor. So I am gonna play 6 notes out of that scale, pretty randomly, and hope for the best, actually. Gonna turn the volume a bit down, wait for the 1, and add it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there it is. It pretty much always works. Some better than others. So again, you cannot automatically evolve a TD3 because there's no LFO and there's no filter input. But you can put an LFO after it, of course, and that's what I did, and that's what you're hearing. In this case, from the Quark Chaos Pad sample 2S or something, I don't even know what it's called. Back in a bit, but not until we create a break by opening up the filter and the envelope release of the DeepMind. It's a nice trick. soon as I throw the kick back in, I'm gonna throw back the envelope release and the filter cutoff. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's one way to create a drop kind of thing. The best would be if you have like some bass line ending up with it. So let's create another bass line on top of this. Let's see what we got here. Using the Hydra synth now. Bass. And let's mute the drum machine as well. And let's do an arpeggiated bass on the Hydra synth in conjunction with the TD3. Let's see how that works. So what I did here, I purposefully added notes to this arpeggiated bass line that are not in the scale and are like the one next to the bass note, for instance, automatically creates some tension, and dissonance is usually, especially when doing techno, it can be a very welcome thing to make it more machine-like, if you will. No guitars today, Josh Jaja. No. No guitars. Bottom left, no, it's a sub 25. That's like the smaller brother of the sub 37. There's a lot less control on the front panel, but there is, I have it, there is an editor for it, and this is this thing right here, the screen I have here is a Microsoft Service tablet. Let's see if I can show that in a different scene. Yes, it's this screen right here, and it now shows all the functions that are not available on the front panel of the 25. Some say that the Moog Subsequent 25 is like a miss. It's not a good piece of kit. It is expensive for the size, but for what I was doing, it was exactly the right thing. I just needed something that sounded Moog, that played Moog-like, and not too big, not too ridiculously expensive. And everything that wasn't on there I could cover with this method of using the programmer software on a device right here. This is touchscreen, so I can even control the filter cutoff by wiping the screen. So pretty cool actually. I never use it like that, but if I really want to go into sound design stuff, I can just use this screen, which in some cases is even better than the front panel itself. Speaking of the Sub 25, let's use it. club, the GSG Club channel lately. We're probably pausing the GSG Club event to focus a little bit more on these techniques and these ways of creating live jams, evolving, stuff like that. So, let's try to create a transition to a different piece. One thing to do and to know is, especially when you have tonal stuff going on, you know, like mixing key, it can be really useful to know about the circle of fifths. For instance, this is in B minor, and if you're transitioning to a new jam that you're creating on the spot, there are two ways you can go, maybe three, maybe four. You can go every way, of course, but if you want a smooth tonal transition, it's probably smart to move to a different bass key that is in the circle of fifths is next to the one you're at. So we're now in B. And the perfect fifth on B is G flat or F sharp. So what I, for instance, could do is create something in F sharp, maybe an arpeggio or something. Let's see. So you're hearing this now. And it doesn't sound terrible, it doesn't sound very good either in this case, because it's not a very good sound, but let's, sorry about this, I'm changing patches with the sequencer running, never do that. Okay. This somehow, somewhat sounds like it's part of the same jam. So now it's in F sharp. So now I got rid of most of the original parts. And now the dominant note you're hearing is an F sharp. You can of course still hear the 303 going on in the back, but there's an F sharp in that pattern as well, because it's the perfect fifth, so it's a pretty good idea to use the perfect fifth when you're doing when you're doing an on-the-spot arpeggio pattern. And we could maybe create a new pattern where we feature this F sharp. And again, do it on the one. Now I change the notes. Now this pattern is starting to annoy me. Sub bass, and why not gonna make an 8-step pattern. make it part of a break. Transitions, it's usually almost always a good idea to just remove all your percussion, hi-hat, snares, and go back to the clean kick. Hey, P-Chops! Whoop whoop! Thank you so much for that raid, man. I hope your stream was compliant. Thank you so much. Cheers, P-Chops. Very much appreciated. Let me shout you out. Welcome, viewers from P-Chops. This is an event called FUNKWERKE in collaboration with GSG.live the RIGS, which is an event about live hardware, music performance, gear insights, techniques, stuff like that. I have no idea what Rush E is. So, Wolfie? No idea. And I'm not the jukebox kind of streamer. I create original, intuitive music on the spot. I usually don't do covers and such. I can if I know the song, but I also have no idea what River Flows in You is. Sorry, man. I do have a repertoire of some jazz and blues songs. I can play boogie woogie blues, jazz stuff, but most of the time I'm just jamming on the spot, creating live electronic music. But thanks for your suggestions, but I don't know that stuff. Absolutely no idea what those songs are, and so you're probably in the wrong segment, but you're very welcome to enjoy the music. It's okay. It's okay. I just don't know all this stuff. I haven't listened to pop music in over 25 years, so you can forget about all pop music of the last 25 years because I don't listen to that stuff. In about 9 minutes time, if everything's well in the Berlin studio, we will raid over there. And the first musician they have on there would be Sound Commander, if I'm correct. Really nice concept, FUNKWERKE, electronic live musicians from all over the world come to Berlin to play in a studio with a very high production value. Nice interviews by Van Bassett and Kimbo. Interviews about gear techniques, but also about being an artist and what inspires them, of course. So let's jam out a little bit more. Berlin. They are good to go. Let's double check that first to make sure if they're live and streaming. Let's see. I do not see them online yet. State tracks. They are not live yet. State tracks. Good thing I double checked. What do you mean shoulder? It's right into my face. So I think I'm gonna continue jamming for a little bit. I don't see them streaming yet. Nope, 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 nope. So let's build another break thing. Okay, folks, we are good to go. We are heading out to Berlin to the Hardware.io studios, where Kimbo and Vam Acid will host a night of live electronic music performances, interviews, gear insights. Well, this is not an apartment. This is a studio. Scientific madness. I do not live here. So we're raiding out in a bit. Let's try one more break. Thank you all for checking out this stream. This is just the beginning of the event. I think about 8-9 more hours to go with gear insights and hardware sets. Catch you on the flip side, everybody. Cheerio.